Hi guys, good to be back with you. After technical difficulties, ironing all that out, and then Landon bringing 1.5 feet of snow, I'm actually able to get back to what I love doing, and that's cooking and showing you how to cook. Now, today I'm just gonna do something easy, and it's pancakes. This is the pancake mix that we made on the last video, and the recipe's on that video. So what you're gonna need is 1 egg, 3 tablespoons of butter, let's see, and 1.25 cups of milk, as well as 1.5 cups of your mix. First thing you want to do is get your butter melted, and I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. So we want 1, 2, 3, and right there. Now, I didn't cut through the butter, through the package, because in olden times, and I still do it, you save the wrapper, and you can grease your baking tins with it. I'm just gonna get the pan on the stove, and all I'm doing is melting the butter so it's on low. So, 1.5 cups. This, what I'm making here, is going to make roughly about 12 pancakes. They're about that big. Let me go wash my hands. Now, Pinball Preparedness is a channel here, and he has some awesome videos out, not only on cooking, but also gardening. And that's why I put the eggshell in the bowl, a throwaway bowl, so that I can wash this out and put it in my jar for my gardening later on this year. It also kept the counter clean. Check on my butter. My butter's good. Okay. I turned the burner off, but I'm going to leave it. I'm going to set it over on the stove to melt the rest of the butter. And I'm going to mix this up. And you don't want lumps in your batter, so you need to keep whisking it. My grandmother, and sometimes I do too, I'll use a fork to get the same results. Yeah, you just use what you got. Pretty good. Okay. See? Just a few seconds on the burner over there, and it was all melted. Just pour that in. Mix that in. And your batter, after you get it mixed in, is all ready to go. Now, some people, they let their batter sit. I just don't see the sense in it. Alright, let's get all this cleaned up, everything put back in the fridge, and take you over to the stove. Just so you can see, this is my second batch. I want to make sure everybody's fed. So, my pan's already hot. I melted the butter for the second batch in this pan, so it's already buttered. I'm just going to start cooking it up. One important thing to find out for yourself is just take note of which side of the pan is your hot side, okay? Because every pan that I have dealt with has a hot side. For me, it's this side. And I think a lot of it has to do with my burner. But basically, every pan has a hot spot, and you want to know where that is. It's kind of like cooking on a grill, a chef, in a restaurant, cooking on a grill. Certain areas of the grill are hotter than others. Barbecue is the same way. If you have a barbecue grill, you have one side that's hot and one side that's cooler. And they cook at different speeds. Get this going here. I thought it was hot enough. I mean, you feel it. It's hot. But anyway, keeping it real. Now we're just waiting on that to start bubbling. This is the hurry up and wait. Wait for it to bubble up in the middle. But, excuse me, that gives you a chance to make the coffee water. That way you can have your coffee ready to go when you're doing, when you're getting all the cakes out fresh and hot. There we go, that's just what we're looking for. This one's not quite there. That's kind of light, but there's quite a bit of butter in that. Now, no matter how many times you do this, the first ones are not going to turn out perfect or even close. So no big deal. They are still edible and they're still good. Especially if you got a jam or a jelly that's homemade. And they do have freezer jams, which that's something that I'll be looking into. I haven't done that in, oh goodness, 30 years at least. And I just started making jams again, but I've been doing it by water bath method. So, and I've got one that I'm going to share with you in a little bit that is real good. Now, as you can tell, I'm not taking my eyes off the stove very long, and I've got it on a relatively low setting. Now, it's 4 on my stove, so it's low. But, yeah, I made myself a cup of coffee. You can get one too, it's right there. But, yeah, you can multitask. I just wouldn't leave the kitchen or this area. You know, if you got a couple of dishes to do, or prep for another item that you want to do, you know, as long as it's not too intensive to where it demands your full concentration, I would say do it. You know, like scrubbing carrots or potatoes and peeling them for canning or dehydrating or whatever way you want them. Me, I like them raw or pickled. That's my favorite ways anyway. Yeah, I've been shoveling all day. I'm ready to relax a little bit. But I probably will prep tonight, so that when I get home tomorrow I can can them up real quick. Give a check on these. See how they're doing. Oh yeah, there we go. That's a nice color. Nothing fancy, nothing hard to it. Alright, this is, there's only one dish that I think that's even easier than this, and that's instant oatmeal. Even from scratch, it's easy. Which, if you want, let me know down in the comments that that's what you want to see is your oatmeal. Tell me what you want in it. Blueberries, cinnamon sugar, chocolate chips. Just let me know what you like in it, and I'll show you how you can make it from scratch. There we go. Easy peasy. Now, there isn't too much oil in this. You know, or butter, or whatever you want to call it. Now I want to show you the difference. I ain't doing nothing special to it, just waiting. This is the type thing, once you gain experience doing just this, you can have this on one burner and then have another burner with bacon or eggs or both. Yeah, eventually you'll get to the point where you can do a full breakfast. Bacon, eggs, toast, pancakes, home fries if you're adventurous. It just takes time and patience to learn. And if something doesn't turn out right, don't stress over it. Yeah. It's one of those things that, say you burn a pancake, okay? Feed it to the birds. That's if you don't eat it yourself. But birds like bread stuff too, which is what pancakes is. It's a flour base. There are other things in life that you should be more concerned with rather than stressing over the perfect dish. You know what the perfect dish is? If it's edible. If the dish is edible, it's perfect. Okay? You don't need to worry. You just need to relax and enjoy the process. And I guarantee you, if there's anybody in that house that is complaining, shall we say, and there's a difference between criticism and complaining. But if they're complaining, tell them to get their butts in the kitchen and cook if they think they can do a better job. We're feeding them. There we go. Nice. Yep, there we go. Let me show you this. Okay. See how dark that one is compared to that one? That one was with less butter. It's only what's resonating in the pan. All I did was because my stove is finicky, I turned it down just a hair. Now, the longer you leave them in the pan, the darker they will get. I'm fine with that. Yeah. Besides, by the time you get all the syrup or jam or whatever you're going to put on top of that, even honey, you ain't going to be able to see the top anyway. You're just thinking how it's going to taste. Yeah, you're like me. You don't really taste the pancake. You taste what you put on it. And that can be a good thing when you're out of bread or out of rice, which I don't see happening. or even potatoes. If you're out of potatoes, you put this down, you put one of these down, and I mean, you could top it, I mean, just as much different ways as bread. You know, the possibilities are really endless on that. See how this one dried out before this one? That's the hot side of my pan. And that's important to know, because you don't want to burn. See? You can tell the difference. You don't want to burn your cakes. And what you can do is just move them around. That way they're all getting cooked as evenly as possible. Let's see how these are doing. Oh yeah, nice. I almost put it on the floor. And we just keep going until it's the end of the bowl. The very end. This one compared to the other two is a different size, obviously. Here's the thing to keep in mind. When you're cooking your cakes, you want to make them all relatively about the same size. Because if you don't, one's going to cook a lot faster than the other. Okay, this one, if I had had it over on the hot side, would cook a lot faster than these two. Some people like huge pancakes, and others like the little ones. But don't tell them that you know how to make that, unless you want to get into making it all the time. Your best bet is to keep it all the same size, roughly. And as far as flipping, it takes practice to do it one-handed. But also, another secret with pancakes is if you let it get hardened around the edges like that and bubbling in the middle, it's not going to break on you. It shouldn't unless you're really rough with it. Now, when it comes to eggs, I am no good at sunny side up. For some reason, I just keep making them scrambled. So that you'll have to learn from somebody else how to do that. Me growing up, know, every time we had a surplus of eggs, we always had scrambled, and we never added milk. And of course, milk growing up was a premium. Yeah, it was mainly for head of household and babies, because we only had the one cow. Later on in my teens, we got powdered milk, which wasn't bad, but yeah, it's one of those things that I'll keep on for emergencies. Alright, safety. Dry pan, hot burner. You don't want to warp your pan, so you take it off the heat and let it rest. Let's get you to the table. You gotta sit down and eat. Alright. Okay. Now, remember how I was telling you when we were cooking that you don't need to add any more butter? Well, this is the ones that I had the butter in. After they got through, I took and didn't add any more butter. This is what they look like when you get to that point. And they take the same amount of time. So, it's your choice. But now you know how to make pancakes. And it's not something to put it on the burner and walk away, because you're bound and determined to burn them at that point. Keep your heat on medium or low. You know, start off medium. If you gotta turn the heat down so you don't burn them, do that. Now with me, this is gonna be a special treat. Because, and be sure to grab yourself a plate and a cup of coffee. Because we have homemade jam. And thanks to Sutton's Days, we have lemon drop jam. It's nice and thick. You only need a little bit, because if you've ever had a lemon drop candy, this is spot on. This is definitely spot on and oh so good. And this is just one of the jars out of a can 24. 2 cases. And I only had 2 that didn't seal. This is one of them. The other one's in the refrigerator too. And let me tell you what, I kind of like one jar not sealing on things that I'm canning, because then I get to spoil myself now instead of waiting for later. But grab yourself a plate and a cup of coffee. Enjoy. Until next time. May your table be full of good food.